Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Minish Recap E3 edition. This time, I'm Spiegel. With me today is Josh of Rush the Fort fame.
Hey, guys.
Josh will be joining me and the ZBN for a number of things we're doing this E3. It's all very exciting. Unfortunately, even though we are the Minish Recap and we do shows in 10 minutes or less sometimes, as this is E3, there's probably going to be a lot of discussions to be had. So we'll probably go over 10 minutes quite a bit.
Yeah, probably.
That's all right. You love it. We know you do. So what are we talking about today, Josh? I can't remember.
We're talking about the Bethesda showcase / conference.
Yeah, so that happened
it
happened about 2 hours ago, so we're a little late. This was kind of a surprise. We weren't planning on doing a Bethesda one, but I figured there was enough to talk about. I figured let's just do it. Let's see what people think. Because there is a lot to talk about, and they covered quite a few things. They opened up with Doom, which is a game that we didn't really know that much about. Did we know anything? Did we even know it existed before this? I can't remember.
I don't know if they had announced it before, but they definitely showed like a teaser leading up to it.
So what did you think? I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say until we get to the Fallout stuff. But what did you think of Doom?
I mean, I'm happy for anyone that's super excited for it, but to me, like, watching the gameplay presentations they had for it, it all looked very scripted and very fake to me. And that's always a red flag at E3.
You were complaining about the scripted gameplay thing.
Oh, yeah. That rubbed me in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either because they did the same thing last year with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and look how that turned out. I mean, not Bethesda, but I think it was Microsoft's press conference, I think, opened with Call of Duty, and that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I don't want to see this. I mean, we all know I'm like the resident Call of Duty hater. So, but anyway, so yeah, I agree. I'm with you. I'm always concerned when it's scripted like that.
It's like something about the animations, like the character animations, how the enemy AI was behaving, and how the player was moving around just did not seem natural and real to me. And that just turns me off entirely to the game.
Yeah. So next we had, I think it was Dishonored 2. I can't remember the order, but they talked about Dishonored 2, which, again, I don't really have any impression. I didn't play the first game, not really interested.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, I kind of zoned out during that part, so I don't have anything to say at all.
I've only heard good things about the first Dishonored game, and I actually have the first Dishonored game. It was very generously given to me by my roommate. Thank you, Colton.
Shout out to Colton.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten around to playing it yet, but I really want to now, so I can join in on the Dishonored 2 hype.
Would you say it's hype, or would you just say it's kind of there?
It's just kind of there so far. I mean, it seems like people are excited about being able to play as a female protagonist as well as a male protagonist that have different unique abilities. So that's interesting.
By the way, speaking of are people excited, the crowd. This Bethesda crowd, they got excited over every little thing that happened, and it was by the end of the show it actually started to really get on my nerves. And I get that it's a live show and it's E3 and people are super excited and buzzed to have something to talk about finally after several months of nothing.
Yeah, it was like the guy would say, and now I'm going to point at something, and then they would cheer, and like, here's this little blade of grass, and then they would cheer.
I mean, it's the hilarious thing about this is like you're exaggerating, but I totally would believe it if that actually happened in the show.
Exactly.
Like they open the fridge. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but they open the fridge in Fallout 4, and like there was a Nuka-Cola in there, and people are like, "Yeah, Nuka-Cola! Oh my gosh, it's a soda!"
And then he's like, "And there's a cereal," and they're like, "Oh, cereal!
Sugar bombs!
Oh, sugar bombs!"
It was comical at best and embarrassing at worst. So
it was
anyway.
Insane.
So good job, E3 press writers. You really did us proud.
And
you know what? I'll be at E3 next year, and I'll be that guy too. So whatever.
The funniest part of that was though, like they were cheering about Nuka-Cola, and yet when he announced that, and we have another game to show you, like only one guy cheered. That baffled me.
Yeah. So before we get to those other games, let's back up. They also announced they were doing Dishonored Remastered Edition or whatever, Definitive Edition.
Yeah.
And I'm really irritated about that. I mean, my hatred of ports is well documented, especially last-gen ports that are fairly recent. I don't care how good the game is. I don't know. I feel like it's too soon.
I'm fine with remakes and remasters, but the thing that really irked me the most about this was that they weren't porting it to the Wii U.
I mean, are you surprised Bethesda hates Nintendo? I mean,
I'm not surprised, but I'm still very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard for me to say I'm not like even if I'm not interested in the game, I still want the Wii U to get some love, but nobody loves our little black box. What else? Elder Scrolls Online. I don't care. I don't care at all.
I mean, it's a game that came out a year ago.
Period.
So,
well, it came out a few days ago, actually.
Well, I mean, it came out on PC a year ago, and it only just got a port to current gen consoles.
And then they also announced that like card game thing.
That didn't really interest me much at all. I actually took a restroom break during that part.
Well, there you go. So we're doing a really good job, like really recapping this entire conference for you. Basically, so far it's been a scripted gameplay, a game I don't care about, and a restroom break. So yeah.
Yeah, this conference was really boring for me up until a certain game coming
Which
out.
a lot of people. I don't feel like that's the general reaction. I feel like we're almost in the minority.
We might be.
And I'm really about to be in the minority here in a second here. But let's move on to the big hitter, which was indeed very exciting. Even if it wasn't quite everything that I expected it would be, or wanted it to be, I should say. And that was Fallout 4. And of course, the impact of this, I think, would have been so much bigger if they had just not announced it a couple weeks ago. And I'm still really kind of irritated by that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I said back during the Minish recap when the trailer went out that, and I talked about how, like, people at E3 have been doing this now. They're releasing little bits of information before the conferences, and then they release more information at the conference. And I'm kind of with you on this one. If they had just announced Fallout 4 at this conference...
Can you imagine? It would have been Twilight crazy. Princess. It would have been Twilight Princess-esque. I'm telling you that. I mean, that place was already ready to explode.
Yeah, and I mean, they even had the same countdown for this conference that they had for the teaser trailer. Like, they had the whole please stand by thing going on.
Right? I mean, so even if they had just teased it, I mean, but they had to go and show us gameplay, and I don't know. I mean, maybe they were thinking that the internet would explode, thinking that this kind of looks like a last-gen game a little bit.
Yeah, when they showed the
PS3 game, basically.
When they showed the beginning of the game, when the guy was walking around inside the house, like that looked worse than the trailer. And that
was super underwhelming. And I mean, of course, we knew the game was coming out this year because Bethesda always does that. But
yeah,
I mean, is this really going to be the finished look of the game? I mean, I'm not a graphics whore by any means, but it's just interesting because usually when a game doesn't have good graphics, doesn't have revolutionary graphics, I should say, people are like freaking out and being like, "Oh, this game looks terrible." But no one seems to be saying that about this, which is good. Because if the game is good and it doesn't have amazing visuals, then I think we've taken a step forward as an industry.
And in terms
of judging things.
Much like with the Bethesda Nintendo thing that we brought up before, like it's expected that Bethesda wouldn't have the most cutting edge graphics and animations in their games, but I'm still very disappointed in them for not like upgrading that a bit. Although it is understandable since these games are so huge that they would have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, and I'm totally okay with them sacrificing visuals for, breadth and all that stuff.
Yeah, like people complained about Skyrim when it came out, like, oh, it's so glitchy and it looks terrible. I'm like, well, I really enjoy this game. And so do a lot of other people.
So that was it for the visuals. They also announced quite a few different types of features that I wasn't like super excited for. I know you were.
Yeah.
So go ahead and say, what were you most excited for of all these features?
I mean, just in general, all of the added customization that they've had.
You really like the Sims thing, right? Like where you kind of like building your own house.
Yeah, I love that. Like base building, you can go like different places in the wasteland, building your own bases and like fortifying them with defenses because people will be attacking. And then also how they streamlined the building your character at the beginning of the game, where you're just looking in the mirror and dragging parts of the face or whatever.
So I was given a little time to think about this, and I actually decided I do like it. It's not what I expected, and it just I don't want to say I didn't like it straight off the bat. I just felt like this isn't what I expected, and it isn't what I wanted. But sometimes the best stuff isn't exactly what you wanted. You know what I mean? So I mean, this could turn out to be really, really good. And I feel like I have to defend myself and say, like, I am really excited for Fallout 4. Like, I feel like I've been a fountain of negativity about it, but it looks really good, and I can't wait to play it. But
And
yeah,
I mean, it's not that I don't understand where you're coming from either. Like, I was very underwhelmed by the teaser trailer they had, and just overall, the tone that they've been presenting this game in so far has been kind of underwhelming, and it didn't really like feel like yay, a new Fallout game until the very end of this presentation when they had the music going on and just doing the montage.
That was my
with all the
favorite part of the
enemies.
presentation, with that montage and the music going. I'm like, this is Fallout right here. Like, this is what I wanted to see. Until then, it kind of reminded me of a combination of like Gears of War and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know why I got that sense, but that's just what I thought. So one other thing that we should probably bring up, they announced Fallout Shelters for iOS, not Android, so I'm not playing it. But I will say that actually this was the best part of the show for me. I was getting really into it, and I'm like, this is like Tomodachi Fallout, is what I tweeted.
Yeah, which
That's what it
also
reminded me of.
makes you think that, wow, this would be great on the Nintendo eShop. But of course, nope.
Yeah.
Just on iOS.
I felt like if Bethesda was ever going to release a Nintendo game, like that would have been it. And it would have been great. And it probably would have sold really well, too. So, boo to Bethesda for screwing that up.
And moving on to like more mobile game-ish compatibility, they have the Pip-Boy.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, the big, ugly plastic thing that you attach to your arm.
So I thought this was hilarious, right? Like, because in the game, you know, you're going around with the Pip-Boy and it's fine, and because it's just what it is. But I can't imagine anyone in polite society wanting to put this thing on their arm and walk around. It's like the G-Force thing that you could use as headphones in the NES era, where, you know, that game where you'd say fire, 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 and it would fire.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, would you want to wear that around in public? I probably wouldn't, and I love the game. I love Fallout 3, but I wouldn't want to wear a Pip-Boy of my own.
Yeah, I mean, people are really only going to wear this at conventions and stuff anyway. I can't imagine anyone wearing this in public.
And, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't love collector's editions. I mean, I get the appeal of them. I would probably never buy a collector's edition unless it came with a stupid amiibo or something. That's because it'd be impossible to get anywhere else. But like they're inevitably going to charge like $150 for this thing, and you know people are going to buy it, and it'll, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean different strokes for different folks. It's not my kind of thing, but I mean people are going to want to buy it.
So we have Fallout 4, we have the Pip-Boy thing, we have Fallout Shelters, and I mean, is there anything else you really wanted to touch on from the show? I thought, do you want to rate it out of 10? Because like I was thinking about doing that for every show.
Yeah, I think before Fallout, it was definitely a 6 out of 10 for me.
That's pretty high considering how much you said you didn't really care about any of the stuff you saw.
It's not that I thought any of it was really bad, save for some of the Doom stuff. It was just all kind of meh. But then Fallout came in and kicked it up like another notch and a half maybe. So I'm gonna be a little generous, give it a 7.5 out of 10 overall.
You're gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10 overall?
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy being on a lot of shows with you this E3 because I completely agree with you, and that is the score I'm gonna give it as well.
All right.
Because as much as I'm being negative about Fallout, I'm still really excited. And the fact that, like, even though it wasn't presented well in the conference itself, the ending montage gave me a lot of hope, and it was so enjoyable. Like, I can probably look back at this E3 at the end of it and say that Fallout 4 montage at the end with the Atom Bomb song with the wigwam or whatever, which they kept saying in the song, by the way. I guess they didn't really write creative lyrics back then either. But I think I will look back and say that was one of my favorite moments, like 3-minute trailer moments of E3. I think that's pretty easy to say at this point.
Yeah, it was really fun.
But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving E3 so far. It's been a great first day, or day -1, or whatever they want to call it now. So yeah, I agree with you. 7.5 is the score I'm going to give it.
All right. I guess we'll see you guys for the rest of our E3 coverage that we'll have in the following week.
Big frickin' day tomorrow on Monday. Lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, we're not going to get the Sony Minish recap up tomorrow. It'll be up on Tuesday, post the Nintendo conference. So keep an eye out for that. Sorry, Sony fans. You have to wait a little while. But we're going to do Microsoft Live. We're going to do Nintendo Live. EA and Ubisoft will be up shortly after, so you'll get to hear me and Dan ripping Ubisoft, or mostly just me ripping Ubisoft. So yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. This was Spiegel and Josh. Spiegel here, Josh over there.
Right over here.
Yeah, over there on that side of the internet. And thanks for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed our show, feel free to share it with your friends. Let them know that the ZBN is the best place for unbiased E3 coverage, kind of.
Totally unbiased.
Not
not biased towards Nintendo in any way.
Well, I mean, we mentioned Nintendo several times in this show, but I don't think we were that biased.
Yeah, not in this, but like in general, the ZBN.
Not at all. Right?
The Zelda board network, not biased at all.
Don't talk about that. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hey, it had to end at some point.
Yeah.